with Turid. Good evening.
Mm-hmm.
And
Hello.
Today we're going to just have an informal talk about training or tools or everyday living with your dog. And for those of you who are not familiar yet with Turid, she is the author of On Talking Terms with Dogs, amongst other books. And now I just have to mention that Turid, your new puppy book with Stephanie Russo, which is out in English. Congratulations. It's about time that we have a good book about puppies.
Yes.
You told me yesterday that you wanted to talk a little bit about walking your dog. This is one of your favorite subjects, I know, because it's something we do a lot. And
yes.
Yeah, why do you love talking about it, Turid?
Because we have discovered by observations that that is what all people do. And if they don't do anything else with their dogs, they walk their dogs. That's also what they spend most time on. From maybe half an hour together in a day up to several hours, but that is the thing that people do most with their dogs. So we have to look at it, because if it's what we do most, it is also probably why it creates problems we get with other things. So it is important that we do our walking the best possible way for the dog to avoid any other problems to occur. And if you think about it, if you, for instance, walk your dog 3 times a day, and maybe for altogether an hour and a half, and you have a dog that becomes 12, 14, 15 years old, you have spent something like 15, 16,000 hours walking your dog. That's a lot. Think about all the wrong things you can do within 16,000 hours. That's amazing. And what I see also with my clients is that most of the problems they get comes from something they do wrong with the walking.
And what is the most common mistakes?
The most common mistakes, there are several. One is to start to walk too much too early with a young dog. It creates so much pain and so much desperation and frustration and whatever in the young dog that has pain everywhere and cannot keep up with you and whatever. And he tries all he can to tell you by biting the leash, by barking, by pulling, by starting to behaving badly in some way. And it is so common that I think almost all the clients I've had for many, many years have had some problem from it. Starting too early, too much is one thing. And then when they get older, also too long walks, too much, too static, walking straight on from one point to another, which is really unhealthy for a dog. He needs a variation of movements. He needs to go so he uses his limbs and his joints in all kind of ways and directions, and that means he must walk as free as possible. Going here, going there, going down, going up, all kind of movements. That's the most healthy for any joint. And another thing is some people walk too fast. Well, not only some, 99% of all people walking their dogs, they walk too fast. You have to remember that dogs have much, much shorter legs than we have. And if you walk in your normal gait, you walk too fast for your dog with much shorter legs. If you go down to, for instance, a dachshund, you have to walk slow with baby steps to make the dog able to walk when he's out walking.
Mm.
They shouldn't run the whole time. That is the same as running a marathon every time you're out, and nobody can do that without getting in trouble. Nobody would run a marathon every day. So you have to think about how you're walking and what you are doing. And it is so important that we have lessons in walking your dog only, nothing else, just walking your dog so you can do it right. And do you know something? When you make dog owners walk their dogs more or less right for the dog, you will see a change in the dog. They get calmer, more harmonic. They start sniffing and looking around. They have time to investigate and take in what is around them. They learn to see the world, and they learn about everything around them, so they don't have overreactions to things.
Mm.
They have time to stand looking at somebody happening over there, some traffic, some people. They need time to take it in. They need time to sniff and explore as they walk along. They might trot for a few steps or meters, but most of a walk should be at a walk, but in uneven terrain so they can use their body with variations. Then you get a dog that is relaxed, can handle the world, can cope with what's coming up, and they get more healthy. It has so many benefits.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a dog that is used to the same all the time, just like with us, we also find new things a bit strange and maybe a little scary if we do the same every day. So you can just take a few steps into a new direction and let the dog find out if he wants to go there or not. If he doesn't want to go, okay, wait till next day and try it again. Just take a few steps. Don't lure, don't ask him to come, don't make him come. Just stand waiting and see what he will do. A dog is by nature curious, and they want to explore. They want to explore new things. But if you have taught the dog to have just habits, he will be a little bit reluctant in the beginning. But don't try to make him. Just take a few steps there and see if he wants to go or not. Don't say anything. Don't lure him. No treats. For goodness sake, no treats. And just wait and see. And if he doesn't want, okay, fine. Next time he will try. His curiosity will take over sooner or later.
And then we have two questions about the same thing, and that's reacting to other dogs when they're out walking their dogs.
You know, most dogs, absolutely most dogs, they are just interested in being together with other dogs in the beginning. And if it depends on how you do things, if you pull them away or you are angry at them or whatever you do, walk with a tight leash, or there are so many things you can do. That means the dog gets a wrong idea about other dogs. Most young dogs, when they act up like that, they lunge, they bark, they do all kind of things. It's not because they are aggressive. They are so desperate to be with other dogs that they overreact. So you have to do several things, and you can read about this in my book about barking too. I have described things like that quite well, I think. And but you have, in the first place, you should never ever try to distract the dog from looking at the other dog. He wants to look at the other dog. He needs to do it. And you should never try to do that. You can stand still, just hold him till the other dog is away without saying anything. You can, if you're early in the situation, you can try to get a little more distance and just stand still and let him look. He needs to look at the other dog. That's what he learns from. He will never learn anything by looking away and be distracted.
So it's the distance here, which is the cue, right? The clue, I mean, sorry.
Yes, and also that we don't do anything, because whatever we do in that situation, we make it worse.
So now I know there's going to be questions. What if the dog is already barking? Should we just let him bark?
Yeah, why not? Let him bark. I couldn't care less. I mean, barking is a natural way of reacting to things, and if he is quite upset, he will maybe bark quite a bit, but that doesn't mean it's anything wrong. It's not bad.
So to prevent this from happening, you have to keep a certain distance and you have to curve, right?
Yes, and at the same time, you also have to find dogs to walk together with, because your dog needs desperately to be with other dogs in a calm way. And the best way to be social and to handle other dogs is to walk together in a nice way.
We have a question. So what is the right time to walk the dog, plus minus? That's very individual, but
You don't need to walk a lot. Sometimes it's okay to just take them out for some peeing and pooing and looking around and sniffing around close to the area where you live, and then just take one walk a day. That's okay. That's fine. You don't need to walk and walk and walk and walk. He needs to sniff. He needs to explore. He needs to see and learn about new things and new areas and whatever, little at a time.
so I guess that's the same answer to all the dogs want to continue walking and go on. But because of their age, we think it's not so good for them to be tired. Do you have to follow them and continue the desire to walk or to stop earlier?
And I suspect that if an old dog does that, it's because you have been walking and walking and walking them up through their life. So that is what they know. Take the dog to a place where there's a lot of things to sniff and explore. Have a loose, long leash and walk slowly yourself so the dog starts sniffing and being interested in doing things with in that area. So it gets less walking, more sniffing, which is more mental stimulation, which is healthier not only for dogs of some age, up through their whole life. That should happen.
So this would be a general advice, right?
Yes, it
Yeah.
would.
How to manage walking two dogs in the same time on leash, more than 3 and 5 meter leash, in the case that each of them has different preferences for observing and sniffing.
Yeah, it might happen that it can be a challenge, but take them, for instance, take them in the car and go to a place where there are a lot of things they can sniff and look at. They might start to be easier to handle with 2 long leashes, even if they have some different preferences in speed and so on. They can learn to cooperate in exploring a new area. You can try to do that. Try a place where there's a lot of new smells and new things to look at. Not a park, not a forest, not a field, but for instance, parking lots, industrial areas, things where there's a lot of garbage and stuff, building sites. There's so many places like that that people don't go, and that's the most interesting for dogs.
There's another question. Some dog parents who feel that they need to take their dogs on long walks as it would be a form of physical exercise. Is it a concept of physical exercise for dogs true and needed? Is this concept? Yes, they do need some, they need both physical and mental exercise. But yes,
But the
Turid?
physical exercise should be not for long, long walks, but be in some area. You can take one walk a day, maybe 45 to 60 minutes if it's necessary. But for the rest of the time, it's better for them to go freely around, take them a place where they can be free, and you will see how varied they move. And that is what they need, not the exercise itself, but the moving variation of movements. And dogs are very good at that. They run a few steps, then they roll, they walk, they sniff, they climb, they do all kinds of different things. Try to find places where that is possible. That's the best for them anytime.
You see, this is a problem all over the world where we're doing walks with our dogs when we have them as pets.
If you are going to have a dog that should work hard, for instance, you know that you have a dog that should do some hunting in the autumn, you start to build him up a little with giving him more and a little more and a little more exercise, so he is fit during the season he is going to work. And then when that season is over, which is quickly over, maybe a month or so, then you have to let him do less, because a body cannot be walked and run constantly all the time. Your body cannot, the dog's body cannot. You build them up to a certain kind of work, and then you build them down again and let them have some free time in between. That's how we do it.
Question. She has a husky, a retired sled dog. She's been pulling from a sled all her life, and now she continues to do so when just walking on the leash. Do you have any tips on how to unlearn
Yes.
the work modus?
Oh, yes. I live in a country with a lot of huskies that have been pulling. And believe me, you can have a dog pull and at the same time walk on a loose leash when you walk him, even at the time of his life when he's pulling in front of a sledge. That's no problem. We teach them to walk on a loose leash. That is totally different. Two different things.
So, are you going to answer how to teach the dog to walk on a loose leash, or
Not I cannot, because I cannot take any training in this short little talk, but I think it will be possible to learn that during the course. I think it's included, isn't it?
if they, yeah, but I'm not sure if she's attending on any of our courses. We
No,
do
okay.
teach that on
No.
our courses,
Oh
definitely.
yes. Oh
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And
A
if you
lot.
want to come and visit, I can all teach you here.
Yeah.
Come up from India or South Africa and I can have a lesson with you.
But she means it though. It's true. Turid has her own, which is called dog country in English, Hundeland. It's a small football field close to where she lives in the west of Norway. And if you are in Norway anytime, or if you're planning to come or just want to come, you should go and visit Turid, and you will get hands-on training with her.
And I guarantee we can teach you to walk your dog on a loose leash in a day or two.
Yeah. It's not that hard, actually. You just have to
No.
train it. You have to do something.
And there has been studies that the longer the leash is, the more relaxed the dog is and the lower the pulse is.
But dog parks, is it a good thing? And how often is it okay for a young dog to visit a dog park?
Stay away. Stay away from any dog parks. It's not good for anyone except a very experienced calm dog who knows his own value and can keep the other dogs away. But I wouldn't go near a dog park. Never.
Where you don't know the other dogs. Yeah. The dog parks are good if you have one dog friend and go there and can have them off leash. That's the only thing
Yeah,
that.
yeah. If there's only you or a good friend coming there, but usually it's many more, and then it's no good at all.
18-year-old dog who is demented. She will walk for a little while, but then she turns around and starts running home, pulling me along as she's completely frantic and panting. She does still want to go out, but I'm not sure this is good for her. What do you think? She has dementia, though. The dog, I mean.
Yeah, I wouldn't go so far away from her. Find some places close to home where you can walk around. And just let them mope around there a little in their own speed, so it's easy to get home again. That's what I would do.
So we have a dog, probably 3.5 years old, maybe WGSD. I don't know, can't think of the abbreviation for that dog, the breed right now, but he has a nipping, biting problem. He does it when place leash onto the front ring of the harness and once coming into the house when unclipping the leash. I'm used to it. Some days better, but never stops. Currently,
you have to stop. You have to stop completely having it attached in front of the dog. It should be attached to a ring on the back of the dog. In front, you will always pull the dog out of balance, and that is very irritating, and it can be painful because he has to use some muscles to keep the balance, and it gets painful, and some muscles get stiff. Also, he will always see this leash dangling because it's from the chest and to the side. So it's irritating both to see and feel. Never use a leash that's attached in the front. It should be attached on the back.
And she also have another question. The dog, so basically the question is how to stop the dog from eating things that they find on the street and at the same time allowing the dog to sniff.
I cannot take all the training here, but one thing is that if you yell no when a dog sees something, he will eat it. Believe me, that's just what people do. If you say you cannot do that, that's what they do. So stop that in a way. And maybe also plan where you're walking so you can have a chance of seeing if there's something there that the dog should not eat. And you just try to pass at a little distance instead of just waiting till the dog has found it.
She's commenting that he will pull if the leash is connected to the back. Yes, so you have to teach him not to pull. It's the same thing.
Yeah, there's something wrong in the way you're doing it, but believe me, in the front, it will make the whole body of the dog out of balance, and he will get physical problems with of some kind because of it. Just believe me, he will.
Next one is, I've recently adopted a stray dog, 3 years old, and he seems afraid every time he meets other dogs and he gets aggressive. How should I handle this during his walk?
In the beginning, you have to plan how you're walking and where you're walking so you can have distance enough to other dogs. That's the first. You have to find the distance that the dog feels good about. You have to learn to curve so you don't go straight at somebody. And then you should try to find someone who can help you make a plan of how to get used to one dog at a time again and get social, because all dogs can. There's not a problem, you just have to do it in a fairly right way. But to start with, you have to help your dog by not going straight into problems so she reacts. You have to go places where there's space enough, where you see them early enough so you can go a little to the side or curve.
Next question. What do you think about doggy daycare centers? That's very difficult to answer because there's so many different ones, but in general, Turid, do you have any?
If it's a doggy daycare center with just a few dogs and they are just a few of them together and they have resting times and they can go out and they have time to sniff and do nice things, yes, it might be okay. But the dog will tell you. And you have to look at what they are doing and how many they are packing together and so on.
And that's true. The dog will tell you. Okay.
Yes.
Why do you think my Yorkshire Terrier walks better on a collar than a good harness?
I don't know. I have no idea that I cannot do things through the air, and I'm not psychic. So I have no idea. There might be several reasons for it. It might be you have tried a wrong harness, a badly fitting harness, or you have done a lot of fussing and fumbling when you put it on, or maybe the dog has a weak spot. There's some place where the harness is touching. I don't know. It can be either. Most of them get used to a harness if you put it on and it fits fairly nicely.
But I'm not sure what the question, because walks better on a collar than a good harness. So I don't know what you mean by walking better, what you expect from your walk. Could it be because it doesn't want to pull because it's painful, or I'm not sure what she means.
No, I don't know either. There are many questions in that question, so we don't really know how to answer it. I really don't know. But well, I would never ever use a collar on a dog when I was walking him. Never. It's totally forbidden in this area.
Okay, so next question. What do you think about the toys for dogs when the dog press buttons and different buttons mean different words? We have a lot of mental games for dogs, but this one is interesting.
You know, it's not actually a mental game, because mental stimulation means something that they can experience by sniffing, listening, looking, new things. These games that you're talking about, they are a kind of activity. It has nothing to do with mental stimulation. It's just an activity. And for some dogs, it only gets stressful. Some dogs might be okay with a little of it. I never had a dog who wanted to do it. I thought it was idiotic, which I also agree with them. But some dogs like it, and that's okay if they don't get stressed by it.
But I think it's a fairly new thing. I've seen it on TikTok and Instagram and so on. You press. So
I've seen it now. It's not so new. I've seen it many times, and I tried it myself a little, but my dogs didn't like it.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Now, don't be too hard on them, too, because they might not want to ask questions. So be nice.
Okay.
Okay.
It's not my job to be nice. You know?
So if you ask Turid anything, you get her opinion. That's sure.
I'm sorry, that's the fact.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, I can't see any more questions at the moment. Let me again tell everyone about the new book, which is called, did we say what the book was called? What was that?
The puppy book?
Yeah.
In English, How to Raise a Puppy.
How to Raise a Puppy by Stephanie Russo and Turid Rugaas. I will post the link. You can go and buy it. To adopt a Cocker Spaniel from a shelter who has bitten their owner. According to the former owners, she gets aggressive when they do not respect her personal space, and she doesn't, she doesn't get her way, and where there are valuable possessions like ball involved. It's a long question, but I do not see any alarming behavior towards me. If there is an excellent treat involved and she's sweet and patient. I met her only 3 times. Do you think she was just in the wrong home? No, she has issues, of course. You have to help her. What do you think, Turid?
Any dog who is biting or growling at somebody, somebody has stepped over something. A dog that reacts that way, we have to respect it, but we also have to try to find out why. Maybe the dog has pain somewhere. If a dog has a personal space, that means people should stay away. I would absolutely try to look at it and see if she might have pain anywhere, which I often get from wrong walking. Getting back to walking again. It can also be that she has been harshly treated by only, when people groom their dogs, if they just brush away, it can be really painful.
But
to
she's
the skin.
also, she's also taking care of what she sees as her things, like the ball and maybe food and so on.
Yeah.
So
And
she's
that's because somebody has taken it away from her.
so
And you
she's
should
trying to
not.
protect it.
If a dog has something, it's hers. And you just leave it at that. Don't take things away from dogs just because to show that you can do it. That is not nice.
But the behavior seems like an aggressive behavior, but she's doing it to protect something. She's not angry. Well, she's angry, but she's doing it to protect herself
If
or
she
something.
if she is being treated with respect and the way she should, she will be okay.
Yeah, I'm just explaining why she's showing the aggressive behavior.
Yeah.
Okay, so the answer is you need to help her and feel safer. Yeah, so she does not feel she has to be aggressive because she's scared that something will be taken away from her or something. And of course, check if she has any pain somewhere. So there are 3 more questions. My dog sits and gazes just like we do. Is my dog getting any kind of mental stimulation or visual stimulation through this action?
Oh, yeah. Oh, a lot. It is so wonderful when dogs do that. And you should let him do it as much as possible. When they sit down and look and look and look and look, and you can almost hear them thinking and getting things into their brain. It's wonderful. It's super stimulation.
So let her do that. Oh. Next is from, why do all US positive force retraining recommend front ring leash to help pulling? I will try later today.
Yeah. I don't know why they do it. We see it very rarely over here. I haven't seen it in a long time actually, which is good because it's no good at all. Just look at your dog when you walk him, and you will see how the whole body is out of balance, and he has to use muscles that he shouldn't use that way when he's walking. It will create problems.
More comment, which is good. We went on the proofs that you're telling us the truth, actually. We went on vacation for the first time with our dogs in an area we could walk without seeing much other people and dogs. So we were able to walk in a real quiet way on a long leash. I now even see a change, like it worked as therapy. It was the best enriched environment I could dream of.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear. And I believe it. I really do.
Okay. So thank you, everyone. Hopefully, we have been able to help you a little bit. That's it, I think. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, Turid. for
And
taking
thank you,
time.
Lisbeth. So,
And
bye,
we'll
everybody.
Bye.